Welcome back. Oh,
Was it a fart?
no, I don't know.
Your timing's impeccable.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. That a fart? Welcome back to the Was That a Fart podcast. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Welcome back, guys. This is episode 3. If you're strong enough to have watched the first 2, then you'll notice that we're growing. We're getting better. We're improving. We're learning from our mistakes, and we're doing the damn thing. So we're here to bring you some fantastic input, our own input on the crypto space, and then to give you a little bit of information about what's going on here. The world's heating up. Oh, baby, go fork yourself.
Go fork yourself podcast. Go fork yourself podcast today. Hey.
Well, look, I'm glad we're all starting the show with a bit of a laugh. I watched those first 2 episodes, and yes, I was a miserable turd. So today I want to sort of raise my spirits and hopefully yours as well. Now, what better way to kick that off with somebody that's been on the channel a couple of times talking about his prediction for the price of Bitcoin. Take it away, John McAfee.
You tweeted that if the price of Bitcoin doesn't go to $1 million by 2020,
I will eat my member, yes.
you will eat your own.
Eat my dick. No, I may choose the mode if I choose to get a Bangkok prostitute and ask her, would you please eat my dick over the next 5 years? That's fine.
That's different than eating your own.
Is it now?
We had John on the show a couple of times. We got to know him pretty well, sort of coordinating those 2 recordings, got to know his partner. Great people. Very quick question. Do you think he's dead, or do you think that was faked?
I think, I mean, who's to say? But if anybody in the world is going to fake their own death, it's that guy. I don't know. I mean, it's too hard to say, but...
What was the evidence that he was dead that was provided to us publicly?
Supposedly a body in a morgue and a death certificate.
So there wasn't a lot of obvious information. Look, and also today, this day and age, misinformation, whether it's coming from the left or the right or the up or the down, is rife. So, things used to surprise me in the past, and now I'm not really surprised by much.
Check out the documentary, people. I personally, I think it's a really poorly made documentary. It could have been so much better on such a fascinating character. But the real sort of twist is right at the end. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't watched it yet. Go check it out. I really hope John's alive. Really enjoyed getting to know that guy. But part of the reason for kicking off the show with that clip is obviously it's a good giggle, but he makes a price prediction of $1 million. Now, we're going to get to Baloo's charts in a moment, because I know most of you, all you care about is when's the price going up and what should I buy? He's calling $1 million on Bitcoin. I think we see Bitcoin go to $400,000 in US currency. It'll be priced in energy in the future. We'll get to that in later episodes, but that 400K figure for me is purely based on the market cap of gold. I think the first port of call for Bitcoin is to overtake gold. It's just a better way of owning effectively digital gold. So that's my price prediction for Bitcoin. Will it happen in the next cycle? Let's see, probably not. I do think maybe a couple more cycles after that it turns into a currency, and we'll cover this in more detail in subsequent episodes. But I kind of want to kick off today's show because I'm a huge history buff. Don't believe Kanye West for a second when he says history shouldn't be taught in schools. Idiot, Kanye!
That's the only thing that we really need to teach in school is engineering. We don't need to teach history.
So a couple of nights ago, I was watching a mini-series. I believe it's called Blood, Sex and Royalty. I strongly recommend checking it out. It's on the Tudors, King Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Not Anne Boleyn, the 80s porn star, as most of you are probably thinking there. Yeah.
Throbbin, why don't you help Brooke take her pants off before they burn?
Happy to help, Dick Man.
Anne Boleyn. And the reason Blue was wearing the Bitcoin chain last week, but I was giggling away to myself because is Anne Boleyn wearing what very much looks like a Bitcoin chain.
The original toxic Bitcoin maximalist.
Obviously, the B is for the Boleyn family. But let me back up a bit here. Where I'm going with this is this period in history, which basically roughly 500 years ago, I think it was, to be exact, I think it was 1535. On a rewatch of this miniseries, I realised, wow, this was a watershed moment in human history. The religious organisations of the Catholic Church at the time in the 1500s effectively ran Europe. Now, Henry VIII wanted a male heir. He wanted to marry Anne Boleyn. He was already married to a French lady, I forget her name, might have been Catherine. But basically they got that marriage annulled. And this was really the first time in history where we had this major clash between a monarchy and a religious organisation. What also happened at the same time was that when Henry VIII kicked out his representative of the Roman Catholic Church, effectively Rome's attaché to that court, he brought in a guy called Oliver Cromwell. Now, that's where the British Parliament also came about. So you've gone from a religious organisation effectively controlling the world's finances to close relationship with monarchy. That then split. Then from monarchy, we go into a scenario where the state effectively has run finance. That's where we're at today. Now, the whole point of what I'm trying to convey to you here is that Bitcoin is the first time in human history where we have a monetary system that is separate from all of those other parties. Now, I'm not shitting on religion, I'm not shitting on the state, i.e. politicians, they all have their place. But here we have an opportunity to effectively have this watershed moment like we did back in the 1500s, where people wake up, if you want to be a rebel, go buy some Bitcoin. This separates your financial assets from everybody else. This is a big moment in history. Things are changing so fast at the moment. We've got people on the streets in China protesting these COVID lockdowns. But if you actually look at what they're chanting, and here's a clip of that, there it is. You know, they're talking about they want to be integrated into the world. Now, a lot of these protests are happening at the universities in Shanghai and Beijing. So these are educated kids. Obviously, you've got people locked up in these tower blocks. There's all sorts of stuff erupting over China. We've also had the protests in Iran. Now, guess what? That's kind of disappeared from the news channels lately. Why? Because they've managed to quell them. And it's the same thing is going to happen in China. They've got cameras on everybody. They've got facial recognition. You know, it's a very, very sad state of affairs. We've got a slither of opportunity here in the Western world not to let that happen. Now, one way that you can stop that happening, your way of protesting can effectively be to own some Bitcoin and understand how that works, why you own it, not because it's going to go up frickin' 10x tomorrow, but because it preserves your human dignity. If somebody controls your money, they control everything. That horse is bolted. Do you want that to happen to you? That's what we're kind of getting across here. That's why we're back, and you know that's a big, big theme of what this show is going to be about. So, thoughts on that, guys?
I have a quick question, and first of all, golf clap for Mr. Sean there. I'm very impressed. Even someone like yourself, who since for me the dawn of crypto time you have been really pushing this idea of kind of essentially what you're saying now. Even yourself, you are no different than all of us in a very understandable sense that you have also looked at crypto as a way to, let's just be honest, to make some monetary gains. Not in some greedy, selfish, fucking corrupt way, but just in a way to play the game in order to also make some gains. On top of knowing how important Bitcoin is, how important the fundamental reasons of why it's here is. A lot of people now, really intelligent people talking about crypto, who are kind of on the fence about it, who really understand crypto, but they say, the problem with crypto is that the essential reason of why Bitcoin was created has been the idea has been lost, and making a whole lot of money in a short amount of time without much work has overridden that. And that has become the popular, not to say that everyone's like that, but a lot of people are into crypto to make a whole bunch of money real quick, real easy. I'm not, as I said, I'm not against that particularly, but I hear a lot of smart people saying that's why crypto and Bitcoin and all that is fucked because it's never going to be hordes of people standing up for the what's right. It's a hordes of people trying to make money. And even us on this camera right now telling you why it's important, even we dabble in the other direction. And it's hard sometimes to catch yourself on one. So how do we get around that as a major roadblock?
I don't really look at it as a roadblock. I actually think that it is an adoption tool. Now, we as humans are self-serving individuals. We have our best interests at heart. And if, one of the easiest ways that you can be interested in yourself is, how do I make money? So a lot of people end up in crypto for that exact reason. Oh, I heard crypto's dope. I'm going to make a bunch of money. This is what I'm going to do. But as a result of that, you learn about crypto. So while the times are good, while the S&P's in a bull market, when the NASDAQ's in a bull market, when money printer go burr, when the times are good, you're having these opportunities to get more fiat, because a lot of people, as you've mentioned, are here to make more fiat. But as a result of that, you also immerse yourself in what this technology does, and you learn about it, and hopefully you don't latch on to too much of the narratives in terms of the shit coins, and you do actually spend some time learning about Big Daddy Biddy, because it's going to be so much easier for you to flip when it actually is required. So right now, it's just a sign of the times. Things are good. We can speculate on these assets, but when the government starts to be like no and banning and censoring, and you're like, well, fuck, I don't like that. What options do I have? Oh yeah, I know about crypto. I've learned about crypto. I can learn these. I can leverage this education that I've had flipping shit coins. So it's kind of a necessary evil.
Even being in it on the sole reason of making some money is better than not understanding crypto at all.
I think
yes,
so.
But the whole point is you could make a fortune trading shit coins, right? So all of a sudden you've got all this wealth in crypto. Now the on and off ramps are where we're going to see issues here, right? Because that's they become taxable events, and I'm not saying hey don't pay your tax, but it's just more about the surveillance state. If somebody controls your money, they control you. End of story. The most populous country in the world, they're there. Do you want to be there? That's kind of the whole point of what we're talking about here. Now, also, I don't want to alienate other protocols, other wonderful inventions that are coming to be within the crypto space. The reality is you could self-custody Ethereum or any token for that matter, as long as you've secured it properly. I guess the big difference with Bitcoin, and to a large degree Ethereum as well, is that I do believe in both of these protocols. Bitcoin especially, because there really is no central point of failure here. There is no third party. It's just completely unique in that aspect. But ultimately, do not confuse making quick gains with understanding how your personal freedoms may well disappear in the very, very near future. Now, if we just look at today's news, we've got this story out of Brazil, which on the surface looks great. They're about to, or at least they've proposed a bill. It's just waiting on one person's signature at this point, the new Prime Minister, to legalize crypto payments, or legalize crypto as a payment mechanism. Now, we'll follow this closely, but it does appear like this will require those projects to plug into their central bank digital currency. Now, we're trying to keep this high level for you because these concepts are very difficult to understand, but effectively what we've got happening at the moment is you've got monetary policy. Monetary policy is what a central bank does. They're pretty much their only role is to set interest rates. It's just one job. In my opinion, they failed miserably over the last, what is it now, about 12 years since the GFC. On the other side, you've got governments, the state. Now, that's fiscal policy. It's very important to understand these two different concepts. So at the moment, we're moving very, very quickly down a path where a lot of power will sit with these central banks and the issuance of these digital currencies. We're seeing it in Asia at the moment. Thailand and 3 other countries are running a pilot at the moment that looks like it could come into effect within 12 months. We've got the BRICS countries, which is included there. You've got Russia, Brazil, I believe, is one of those as well. Now, they're looking at a currency that will be used amongst that group of countries that will be based very much on energy.
Ask yourself, what does the producer actually spend? What constitutes every process and component of production and consumption of any good? To answer this question, we must identify what is common for all phenomena in the universe. Solar light, Earth gravitation, ocean surf, growth of plants, flow of blood in vessels, revolution of electrons around the atomic nucleus. It is all nothing but different transformations of energy.
And ultimately, great, we're making these videos because I'd love to look back on it in 20 years and see if I was right or not, but I do think that ultimately everything is going to be priced in energy. And that's where a proof of work, Bitcoin, blockchain, is very, very relevant in this discussion because, it's actually in the US Constitution. The currency had to be backed by gold. Now, in 1971, Nixon started to remove that. You could argue whether it was 71 or 73, but effectively it was very much seen as a temporary measure. Coming back to the top of the show here where we're talking about Bitcoin replacing gold, it's not beyond the bounds of reason that in the future our entire economic system could be based on Bitcoin. I don't think we're likely to see that for decades. But I do think we potentially head in that direction. You're using fiat currencies, which effectively are just political money. This is how you pay your tax. The whole country agrees. Yes, okay, that New Zealand dollar, that US dollar, that's worth this. It's just a trust-based system. What's it backed by? Nothing. It's just trust. So all of these things are just based by trust. It's very easy to poke the shit at failed projects. And Jesse, I want to kind of throw this over to you at this point because you're probably the biggest user of various crypto projects of the 3 of us. It really comes back to how many people are buying into something. So could you maybe talk us through what you've seen in this bear market? Are there any particular communities that...
Yeah, for sure. I think that being a user of crypto has been one of the main reasons that this, scary, chaotic bear market hasn't really emotionally affected me, because when you're part of any type of community within a crypto space that is thriving, you clearly feel like, well, no matter how bad it is at the moment, I don't see this community fizzling out simply because of a Sam Bankman-Fried fuck up or any of this stuff. There's a game in our old show I used to talk about. It's called DeFi Kingdoms, which is something that not only is a very briskly growing metaverse of finance and gaming combined in a Zelda-like structure, but the Discord and the community of this game is like none other. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you could spend a lot of time in this Discord, not just communicating, but learning about crypto in general, also like all the contracts that come with it, and all of the contests that come with it, and all of the interaction that comes with this game is there. And that's kind of a Web3 based game. Then you got something more like on the gaming sphere of like Gala. I bought a founder's node for Gala Gaming a year ago, and since then have slowly been deeper into Gala. That's almost more like app-based real gaming, and there's plenty of community on that. Then into the music creation side of things, I started with Audius. I'm part of another group called Emanate, where yet again there is contests through kind of like a point system, and there's all kinds of different like ways of improving yourself musically, but also learning about crypto music and all kinds of stuff like that. Then even deeper, I could go on, but there's plenty of platforms and ways of being a part of something that even in this bear market, I'm technically earning crypto in like 4 or 5 different measures at this very moment. And when you see the thousands of people in some of these communities obsessing so much deeper than I am, you got some people that are banking their life on just DeFi Kingdoms alone. Oh, big time. And these guys have run channels much more dedicated than we are. And these guys are fucking doing it. And you just see it and you think, they might just crash and burn. You never know. But ultimately, it's pretty impressive. And you go, I'm not worried.
I agree with, the intensity. Like, nobody gets this deep into something and then it just fizzles away to nothing. There's something here. I think it's still really, really early days, and we have a lot to figure out, specifically in terms of like tokenomics and incentive structures. We've seen things kind of like what we saw with Axie Infinity, where the incentive structures didn't really make sense. Like, buying a game, you make a living. It's the incentives were too great, so we're still figuring out a lot of stuff. But yeah, the passion is there, the development is there.
Yeah.
And people are not going to let this go. It's going to be a really well-defined facet of crypto in general.
The best way I can compare it, and this is going to be a weird comparison, but imagine 1982 skateboarding, Southern California, and there's like 500 people that are into it, and it seems bizarre, it's risky, it's weird, and it's run by a bunch of miscreants. This thing's gonna fizzle out. What a stupid
I was
thing.
one of those miscreants. I was posting Big Brother posters around my university in LA in the early 90s. Big Brother.
And what was a big part of that? It was rebellion.
Yeah, totally.
It was cool. It was new. It was badass.
Yeah.
And look at it now. I mean, if you're
Shout out Steve Rocco.
if you're a good skateboarder, man, you're getting your dick sucked.
Cover your nipples, because this could be a good cover shot.
There was just one thing I wanted to quickly throw in there before we look at Blue's charting action. One thing I missed was that going back to the 1500s, 500 years ago, really interestingly, around the same time, so Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII had a child. That was Queen Elizabeth I, regarded as one of the greatest monarchs. But at the same time, her cousin, who was Mary, Queen of Scots, she was Catholic. So after Henry had moved away from the Catholic Church so he could marry Anne Boleyn, there was some drama within that family, and Mary was potentially seen as a successor, so she was ultimately arrested. And this was really kind of the first time in human history that ciphers or cryptography were actually used. It's a fascinating story if you want to go and have a bit of a dig around that. A lot of people will claim, okay, it was actually Julius Caesar, and probably it was, but Julius was pretty dumb, and all he did was take the alphabet and move it 4 letters across. So a numbskull could have broken that code. But Mary, Queen of Scots, actually used public key cryptography, which was a public and private key, to be able to understand the messages that were going from her to her supporters. So, that's how far this whole sort of space goes back, and that was really a pivotal moment in everything we're talking about here. So I hope you take the time to go away and understand that, these bigger pictures that affect your life, because I do believe that in our Western democracies, I think we have less than a decade to push back against the tyranny that's underway. Simply a case of people that may well be good people, but power corrupts, and they've just got too big for their britches, and there are ways that we can defend against that, and we'll be talking extensively on that topic. Now, back to making some money, because I know most of you are only here for that. What's going up 100x tomorrow, Blue?
Yeah, now that we have those fundamental factors of why you should be in crypto out of the way, it's time for Number Go Up.
Number go up. Hey!
All right, so taking a look at the cryptocurrency market as a whole, we're going to look at the last year of price action. We have seen signs that we're approaching a bottom, and the prices are consolidating in a way where you can begin to look at things with a little bit of a bullish lens. So as you can see here on Bitcoin, we do have a little bit of a squeeze formation. You can see that the channel has been identified. We have several tests up in these areas here, a few tests here, and we are on an upwards trajectory, watching out for the resistance point that's going to be at the upper end of the channel. So if we can break above that resistance point, we could absolutely begin to see a rally, but I'm not about to front run a bullish idea just yet. I want to see a little bit more consolidation before I jump into anything too bullish as far as a narrative. Going ahead and taking a look at Ethereum on the Bitcoin pair. Ethereum has been really kind of lock in step with Bitcoin over the last year. It's been trading more or less sideways with small periods of volatility. You can actually look at this quite well with a baseline chart. You can see that we've been just kind of dancing around here. Let me actually do that. With a pretty neutral market digestion. You know, there are periods where there is an outperformance, but those are usually met with a little bit of a correction. But the overall consolidation of the last year is it's pretty much traded relative to the price of Bitcoin overall. So interesting to see that Ethereum is holding its own against the Bitcoin pair. Let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin. Now, Litecoin has an interesting narrative that is happening right now, where the FTX hacker has been tracked, and the FTX hacker has been using Litecoin with some of Litecoin's privacy features to try and mix the coins and lose the trail of all of the on-chain analysis that is chasing it. Now, we have a very interesting structure here. You can see that we have this channel down here with this resistance indicated in green, and we have popped above the resistance after a year-long downtrend. This is what's known as kind of a bump and run pattern. These can be quite advantageous trading environments, so definitely keeping a close eye on Litecoin as that narrative begins to take place and we start to see people placing their chips in some of these older legacy cryptos.
It's good that we've left this Sam Bankman-Fried clip till last. It's just come out today. My family's taken a hit here. I'm obviously the man that's been saying not your keys, not your coins for years, but in our defense, it was a scenario of looking to exit some coins back to a bank account, and unfortunately we just left it sitting on that exchange for too long. Now, as you're about to see in this clip, this fuckwit is not putting his hand up and taking any responsibility here. He's trying to pass the blame to the people at Alameda. I think the best place for Bankman-Fried for his own safety at this point is prison. You can't rob 1 million people and not expect that somebody's going to come for you. At the moment, the crypto industry's got freaking BitBoy down there parked outside his house. BitBoy is putting a bill into Congress at the moment. Now, is this the face of crypto we want? I mean, we had Bankman-Fried talking to Congress before this. Now, BitBoy and a few other people in the crypto space are on their freaking high horse. I'm glad I've had a year away, and it was to a large degree, what I was seeing in crypto media was the reason I threw my hands in the air. You guys know this, but there's a lot of freaking tomfoolery, clownery, fuckery going on at the moment. So be very, very careful who you listen to. It's a quagmire of lies and deceit. I don't think anybody knows how this is going to play out. I've only seen a little bit of this clip. I'll be watching the rest of it today, link below to it. But here's a little snapshot. This was the first question that this fucking asshole was asked. And look how he answers it. I mean, this guy's got to go down, and he's got to go down hard. Here it is. Check it out.
I didn't ever try to commit fraud on anyone. I was excited about the prospects of FTX a month ago. I saw it as a thriving, growing business. I was shocked by what happened this month. And, reconstructing it, where are there things I wish I had done differently?
Well, let's talk about some of the things you would want to have done differently. But I don't want this to be an abstraction for folks, because it's a lot of big numbers and often doesn't feel human. One of the letters I got, I want to read to you, Sam, because it's from a gentleman who said that he lost his life savings. And the subject line is, Sam Bankman-Fried stole $2 million from me. It says, Andrew, can you please ask SBF why he decided to steal my life savings and the $10 billion more from customers to give to his hedge fund, Alameda? Can you ask him why his hedge fund was leveraging long all of these S-coins? I'm going to keep it polite for the kids. Please ask him if he thinks what happened was fraud. These are the kinds of letters that I've been getting repeatedly over the past several days. What do you tell this man?
Yeah.
I'm corrupt.
I mean, I'm deeply sorry about what happened.
Sounds like a child.
Here's, the long and short of what happened. And I'll start by saying, just to make a distinction here, you look at the U.S. platform, you look at the international platform.
We said the long and short.
It's a U.S. regulated platform with American users. To my knowledge, that's fully solvent. That's fully funded. And, I believe that withdrawals could be opened up today and everyone could be made whole from that none of these problems plagued the US
5% of the total company in the US, by the way. It's nothing.
The international platform, for their non-US users. And, as the letter says, Alameda Research did have a long position. And the international platform, it's a margin trading platform. It's a derivatives platform. It's a platform where all the clients were, going on, placing something as collateral and using that to put on a position, whether that's a futures position, a spot position, a borrow. And, what the exchange was storing was the collateral from all of those positions. Alameda Research was, one of those that put on positions there. And as I try and reconstruct this, over the last month, I have limited access to data, but my view of it, from what I have been able to see, is roughly that, basically, look, a year ago, Alameda had, I think, something like 10% leverage, had something like 10 times the excess of the position that it had on. Over the course of the last year, there were a number of market crashes that drove the value of those assets down and the leverage up. I think it was, to my knowledge, still under 2x leverage, as of a month ago. You look at what happened this month, and in a few days, all out, PR assault, which led to a total market collapse in a pretty short period of time, no bid-side liquidity. I think more than $10 billion wiped off in the matter of days. And realistically speaking, no ability for FTX to be able to liquidate that position and generate everything that was owed from it.
Just really quickly, because I have a first-hand experience of this, what he's basically said there is complete and utter bullshit. Here is a picture of their T's and C's for the international platform, which clearly states that depositor funds are not used for any form of trading. Now, what he's referring to there is people that have gone into sort of earn programs or leverage positions. Still, that policy statement wouldn't affect those funds. In my personal case, these were just funds that were deposited, and we were linking a bank account to withdraw to fiat. So there was no leverage position. Those funds weren't being traded. They were just sitting on an exchange to be transferred to a bank account, which you could link via FTX. So everything he said there is factually wrong. He's pointing the finger at other people. There's 10 other people that they've all been fucking in this. By the way, Pornhub are trying to buy the rights to make a porno movie about these 10 clowns that have been in this pansexual.
Who would watch that? Look how disgusting he looks. And his girlfriend?
I made a sort of disparaging remark about crypto media before, and I mentioned BitBoy. My point there is, BitBoy is not the face of the crypto industry to be talking to Congress. Neither was this clown. Unfortunately, we're very, very short of people that should be taking that role. We've got it wrong for so long on that front. But what really also annoys me here, and I see BitBoy's point on this, is this clown, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Frickin' Wonderful. Take a look at this clip.
I think we can all admit, you can love him or hate him given what's happened, but he was one of the most brilliant traders in the crypto universe. He also built one of the most robust platforms. We used FTX actively. It was a very robust platform that allowed us to get information on a compliant basis. So I really like what he built.
Would you back him?
The answer would be yes.
Invest him in a gain? Holy shit. Wow, what a frickin' show the Shark Tank must be with that guy as your... I mean, this is scary shit, people, whether it's some sort of psyop here, I don't know. I mean, it's murky. You've got Bankman-Fried. You know, BitBoy is probably digging his own grave here. You know, these are people with the ability to put you in a cage, and he's rattling that cage big time at the moment.
Good. It's time that someone does something. I mean,
he's just not the guy to be doing it, though. He's going to be such an easy target for the SEC. He's an American citizen.
But if no one else is doing it,
he's taking money.
Then he literally is the only one doing it. Like, you know, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, go fork yourself, people. I mean, the whole point of that, it's a little bit tongue in cheek, but you know, the reality around calling the show that is, you know, a hard fork is a change of direction. It's, you know, in software terms, it's an upgrade. There's many different ways that you could use this. For us, we want you to understand, yeah, it's a bit of fun, but it's also hard fork your life. You know, get knowledge, know what direction you need to go off in.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of open source technology, of these blockchains. If they're ever clamped down on, the community can agree, we're going to soft fork or hard fork. That's happening right now with Taproot on Bitcoin, which is going to be additional privacy that will be built into that network. There's great things happening.
Look, and we're all going down the same path of someone controlling your money, someone controlling your freedom, someone controlling your life.
Yep.
And we can choose to see a fork in the road and make a change in our direction. Hard fork your life, hard fork your freedom.
It's kind of interesting, like where we are is we have the technology already. It's here. It's just nobody's using it and nobody's realized what has happened. You know, it's kind of like the horse and buggy when we first invented cars. It's just like, guys, we have the technology. We built a car. It doesn't need a horse. We have it. It works. No, we're going to use the horse and buggy, tried and true. We don't need to find gasoline. We don't need this. There's a million reasons why not to progress. And in fact, a lot of these lobbyists were, you know, putting a lot of red tape in front of car manufacturers to get those cars off the roads. We have the technology. It's here. It exists. It is yours to use if you want it. You just have to learn how to drive and drive the freaking car. And we are on a trajectory that is unstoppable, just like the automobile. We are getting out of our horses and we are getting into cars, and we're just going to move forwards. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. They can try and regulate it, but cars are going to be on the road.
Absolutely. And I guess to sort of exactly on the point you're talking about there, Blue, I think we sort of maybe wrap up today. I had a chat this morning with a good friend Didi. A lot of you would know him from the Bitcoin family. He's all over the press at the moment. I believe there's quite a major production that will be on hundreds of millions of screens in the near future, but I'll leave him to tell you about that. Hopefully, Didi, I know you're going to watch this, so we want you on next week's show. One of the things we want to talk about is these decentralized exchanges. There's one called Apex that we've had a look at. I believe you've tried it. You like it?
Playing it. Yeah, it's great. You know, and this is it's perfect timing. It's almost poetic, really, what's going on, because we can't trust exchanges. Uniswap was not an FTX. Uniswap was not a Binance, okay? We don't have decentralized exchanges that had that same user experience. Now, with Apex, you have a really good user interface. You have an order book. You have the liquidity displayed right on there. You connect your wallet. You trade from your wallet. Your funds never go to the exchange. Yep. And you have access to leverage. This is where we're headed.
Yep.
So, you know, if people keep messing up, it doesn't matter, because the development is heading into the right direction. We're going to remove more and more middlemen as we go until the point that we have zero middlemen. It'll be all peer-to-peer using these applications.
And can I add one thing? When I was in high school and MP3s became possible to download, and I remember downloading Beastie Boys, Girls, on MP3. It took me about 2 hours. I got to put it on my 5 megabyte, whatever, music thing that it cost a couple $100. It was hard to download MP3s. It was also illegal. It was also cracked down upon heavily, to the point where They were like, this is, you're going to go to jail if you do this sort of thing. What happened? Every year since that year till now, it got easier and easier for me to listen to whatever music I wanted to, because no matter what they could throw one or two people in jail, they could do this or that, they could prosecute this or that person, but ultimately the trajectory was the same. You can't stop billions of people from getting what they want, no matter how...
I'll stop you there, Jesse. This is kind of the whole point of my narrative today. You can. We've seen it in China. You can stop billions of people. These
Really?
these
You're
students
saying it at the
protesting
wrong time. Because it's been since 1989 that these students in China have done what they've done. And when they did what they did in 1989, there was...
Why do you think we're not seeing anything on the protests in Iran anymore? That was front page news everywhere. The whole world should have been behind that, supporting it.
Does that mean it stopped? Does that mean it stopped?
Your country just played Iran in the World Cup. Here's a clip of this, and this was so powerful, and I can't believe it wasn't front news everywhere.
Silence heard around the world by the 11 players from Iran's national football team who chose not to sing along to the country's national anthem at the opening ceremonies of their game against England.
Now, there it is. We've got to throw our support behind people that are brave enough to do these things. The people that are protesting in Iran, I've got a ton of Iranian friends, some of the nicest people I know. I've never met anyone from China I haven't liked either. But these countries are just getting closed off to the rest of the world. Their youth don't want that. They banned Bitcoin back in 2017. They've cracked down on that. Why? Because control people's money, you control them. So look, all hope is not lost, but you have to take the time to understand these concepts. We're going to do our best to educate you. All is not lost. In fact, the news is, I think it's bright. It's in our hands to do something, but you've got to start acting now.
If you don't take the orange pill, you're going to take the orange suppository.
Positively.
Jesse Maddox, I always like your closing comments, and they're generally off the cuff. So what do you got for us this week?
Yeah, I think that the main point here is that we spend so much time pointing our finger at what you're not doing right, what you're doing wrong, the injustices that you're pushing on us, that we never actually take a moment to realize that it's all about ourselves, making sacrifices in our own lives to do the right thing, to make our lives better, is the only way to progress. If we stop putting all of our energy into blaming others and to actually put some time into doing what we know we have to correct in our own lives, a lot of this will work out. So whether that applies to crypto or not, that's kind of my outlook. And I think that it does apply to crypto. Of course it does. It applies to everything, but crypto's not the only thing in life that we need to fix. So this is a crypto channel, but I'm here to say fucking fix beyond your understanding of crypto. Start doing, if you're drinking too much, take care of that, John. And whatever it is, it doesn't matter what the vice or the issue or the family thing that you're going through. Do the right thing to fix your specific problems, whether it's hard or not so hard. Just take the first few steps, and I guarantee you'll see the entire universe start to adapt to you and not the other way around. So, get a little bit more mature. All of us. I'm talking to myself, of course. And that's all I can say.
I don't know how to top that.
There we go.
Going back to, your point, Jesse, where you can put a few people in jail, but you can't put everybody in jail. That's just right. Like, you can't remove society from society. We are society. We are the collective of people who are moving forwards, and we're creating the solutions. Regulators like to think that they're in control. Regulators like to think that they have power, and they do, but at the same time they don't, because we put them in power to begin with, and if they're gonna run amok, and if they're going to not take their responsibility seriously, which I believe that they haven't, and I believe that we've created technology to hold them more accountable, we're gonna use it. So we all keep saying the same thing: just educate yourself. on why this stuff is important. You don't have to buy it. Just educate yourself that it exists, because when the light switches or the music turns off and you're no longer in a situation that you feel comfortable with, it's dire that you know what the solutions are.
I'm not here to tell you to buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, buy Doge, whatever. I'm here to tell you what I know, what I understand, to hopefully provide some information that you can go away and research yourselves. But in closing, what I would say is do not underestimate what money really is. Once somebody controls your money, it's just controlling your value. Money is just a representation of your energy, what you do, what you can go out and 8 hours digging a hole, somebody pays you that. It's your energy. Pretty simple, people. But at the moment, you've only got to look what's happening in China, what's happening in Iran. You know, they're trying to bite back. Let's see how that works out for those brave kids that are doing that at the moment. I don't think it's going to work out very well. I don't want to ever be in that position. I'll do everything I can to educate you on that and hopefully help them in the short, medium, or long term. Look, don't be scared of what's in front of you. It's entirely up to you. I think Jesse's words were bang on. You know, none of us are perfect. There's always something you can work on, and ultimately it's yourself. Educate yourselves, people. You'll be fine. Go fork yourself.
Go fork yourself.
Go fork yourself.
Go fork yourself, go fork yourself.